keep government open. We have to do those imminently, more imminently even, to address the full Obama agenda of building back better.
Madam Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, apparently catching some of Joe Biden's loss of mental acuity after calling the current occupier of the Oval Office's Build Back Better plan Obama's agenda. Now, some are saying the only gaffe Pelosi committed was slipping up and telling the truth. Biden is an empty shell, and his people are carrying out Obama's third term. Joining me now to discuss is the host of the Trish Regan Show and editor-in-chief of TrishIntel.com, Trish Regan herself. What do you think, lady? Team Biden looks an awful lot like Team Obama. Did Pelosi just actually say the quiet part out loud?
Yeah, perhaps that's exactly what she did. Look, I think the teams are the same. The people are different, right? And I would give Obama, dare I say, a little bit of credit for on Good Morning America yesterday admitting that we are a nation state and we do need borders. That was like a smack in the face to the current administration. But look, it's the same team. It's the same people involved making some very similar mistakes. There's an agenda. I would argue that in some ways that agenda has been dramatically radicalized, Chris. This is not even Obama's agenda. This is an agenda of those that were entrenched in the Obama team, the deep state, if you would, right? Those in politics that have made this their career, and they are taking anything that Obama did that much further. I mean, I would argue on the stimulus, right? I mean, Obama feels quaint at $800 billion. That's how much his stimulus to nowhere was. Now we're looking at 3.5 trillion, which they're trying to tell us somehow, some way, is actually zero.
I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that. New study, in the meantime, published by the Texas Public Policy Foundation says that Biden's big government agenda will kill 5.3 million jobs, put our nation $4.5 trillion further in debt, and the U.S. gross domestic product will be reduced by $3.7 trillion, which is nearly the entire cost of Biden's entire Build Back busting budget. It looks like his Build Back Better plan is really a bust, no?
I mean, it's a disaster. It is a disaster, and America knows it, which is why they're trying to convince you somehow that this is $0 and it's not going to actually cause you a tax increase. That's not going to fly. I mean, that study in particular is spot on in that they're recognizing that it will cost us not just 3.5 trillion, but 3.7 trillion because they're factoring in interest, right? I mean, let alone inflation. Look, the reality is we can't afford this, Chris. We're doing okay. My recommendation to everyone in D.C. would be to leave the status quo for a while, let the economy breathe, let people go back to work, stop offering so many unemployment benefits, and let Americans do what they know how to do best, which is to make money, right? I mean, that's why we are the #1 economy in the world. We got this. We don't need the interference of the Biden, or should I say Obama team, trying to tell us how to do things. And that's the biggest mistake that they are making, not trusting the American people. And by the way, they think we're so dumb and so stupid that they can tell us this is going to cost $0.
I know. And you know what? You brought it up a couple times, so we just got to address this. This whole idea that spending, actually, it's not 3.5, it's closer to $5 trillion is zero because they're going to tax the bejesus out of all of us. That's insane. And let me give you a microcosm of this. Biden, Pelosi, even clueless members of the media are trying to say that this will cost America zero, as we just detailed. And aside from the mathematical impossibility of that being factual, this attempt to substitute slogans for substance, shouldn't that just give us an instinct here for Americans to reach for their wallet? Because if you've got to try to say that $5 trillion is actually zero, that means that real hurt is coming, yes?
Well, it means that they're trying to sell you something. And look, there was another poll out today by Politico Ipsos, and they showcased the fact that Americans don't trust Biden on a number of things. And Americans can't trust Biden on the economy. I mean, that's very, very clear. I mean, the fact that he would stand up there and try and spout this nonsense, and Democrats that are pushing this as well, I'm sorry, this is not partisan. This is just math, okay? 3.5 trillion is 3.5 trillion. It will cost us something, especially in that because of the higher taxes that they're also pushing on Americans, you're going to have less investment. I mean, that's just the reality. You're going to have less investment in the future, and thus a pullback in the economy. The other thing that I would point out, and that nobody's talking about, is that they are actually not taxing the uber wealthy on Wall Street. There's such a thing called the private equity carried interest loophole. And before I bore you to death, just know this. It's called the fat cat tax loophole. And this loophole enables billionaire private equity Wall Street bankers to count their income as investment. As such, they pay less percentage-wise in income tax than, say, a firefighter in New York City. And so what really gets me is just the hypocrisy of it all over again. They say they're going after the rich. They're really just going after high earners, people that are working and making a lot of money. They're not going after the fat cats that are making the billions, because guess what, Chris? Those are the same exact guys that are donating to Biden's campaign. So that really makes my blood boil.
The rich and the powerful are now wholly owned subsidiaries of the Democrat Socialist Party. You should see the tobacco taxes. Now, who do you think the tobacco? I mean, we're talking about 1,000% increase on taxes. I mean, good grief. I'm putting it up there on the screen just so everybody can see. That's what Biden's plan is. Who's that going to hurt? The middle and the lower classes. That doesn't hurt the upper classes. That's going to just be so much harm. Trish Regan, thank you, lady. Appreciate the time and the expertise, as always, here on the Salcedo Show. Talk to you again next week.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest-growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them. Tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.